The reports are false. I said nothing of the sort. On the contrary, I've always said that I'm very proud of the lessons that Canada and Quebec have to share on differences of opinion, shared in peaceful ways, and pluralism and diversity that is positive for our community. I have long been known to wear traditional clothes to a broad range of events in many different communities in Canada and elsewhere. For me, the reaction that people have had towards the Canadian delegation and myself in business meetings, in religious meetings, in cultural meetings, in political meetings, whether I'm wearing a traditional clothing or a suit and tie, has been extremely encouraging in the Indo-Canadian friendship. Obviously, this situation was unacceptable. Like I said yesterday, this individual never should have been invited, and the MP responsible has taken responsibility, and I will be having a conversation with that MP in Canada next week. This has been an excellent trip that has been an opportunity to deepen people-to-people ties, highlight the deep friendship on political, cultural, and business levels between India and Canada. This is something that we're continuing to work on. Obviously, the business announcements we made of $1 billion of back and forth investments of close to 6,000 jobs created in Canada has been the focus of this week for us. But like I said, I will have a conversation with the MP when we return to Canada. We spoke, as we often do, as we actually always do in each of our meetings, about the continued way that Canada and India collaborate on a broad range of issues, including security issues. We repeated our determination to work together around the shared values of pluralism and respect, while at the same time having zero tolerance for violent extremism or terrorism. What we saw today was that the relationship between the Canadian government and the Indian government is very strong. We had an excellent meeting today with Prime Minister Modi, talked about a broad range of subjects, engaged with our ministers. It was particularly nice to be able to be at a table with our delegation that was able to understand in Hindi without translation what, at least half of them anyway, what the Prime Minister was saying. It really goes to the depth of the connection between Canada and India and the strength of the bond that we have.
But Prime Minister, the question was about this assertion from a senior Canadian government official and whether or not you share that assessment that there were deliberate attempts to undermine this trip. And a supplementary question is, do you know if Mr. Sarai was aware of Mr. Atwal's history when he put him on that list?
As I said, I'm going to be having a conversation with MP Sarai next week back in Canada. This is a situation that obviously is unacceptable, and we will follow up on it.
Prime Minister, fairly or unfairly, you've come in for some criticism on this trip. Looking back over the week, is there anything that you wish you might have done differently in the presentation, the timing of events, anything at all?
I think any trip gives opportunities to reflect and improve on next time. But overall, this trip has been tremendously positive, from the concrete outcomes on the business side of $1 billion of investment back and forth, of 5,800 jobs to be created in Canada, a lot of positive energy in the business community on both of our sides, particularly given the CEO roundtable with Prime Minister Modi that we held this afternoon, the opportunity to highlight the diversity of India through having visited major religious sites across the country, to highlight the peaceful pluralism that is at the heart of India's success and Canada's success, the opportunity to connect with leading figures in Bollywood and in various cultural industries has been extremely positive, but mostly the tremendous pride and strength of the Indo-Canadian community of all backgrounds, represented here by our team with deep connections, but also the many, many Canadians of Indian heritage who have joined us on this trip and have really demonstrated the depths of the friendship between our two countries and the positive outlook on how this relationship is going to continue to evolve.
And do you feel that there are any lessons learned for future trips that you might want to take from this one?
Oh, we are going to continue to do one thing that we did very well on this trip, which is while I was able to get to 4 different areas, our ministers actually each branched out to different cities that I wasn't able to visit, and we were able to cover a lot more ground and have excellent interactions right across the country to really make Canada's presence and Canada's friendship with India and the strong relationship and the strong potential with India resonate right across the country beyond where I and Hadrian were able to go to make an impact. The Canadian government regularly receives information on people of interest from friends and partners all around the world, and we make appropriate follow-ups on them. I have no further comment to make on the list. I passed it along to our intelligence officials, who will go through the proper, rigorous Canadian procedures, and it is not something that is particularly out of the ordinary for us. I was pleased to be able to refresh and renew the relationship between Canada, the Canadian government, and the Chief Minister of Punjab. I think this is an important relationship that we know is important to hundreds of thousands of Canadians, and we will continue to look for ways to deepen investment and move forward, but there are many steps to come in improving that relationship. We are a government that understands how important it is to be there for vulnerable peoples around the world, and we're very pleased that over the past years we've brought in tens of thousands of Syrian refugees, of people fleeing violence and persecution and war around the world. But we also know that there is always more to do. So Canada's approach on refugees is focused on 3 different parts. One is, yes, to welcome in as many as we can responsibly do, to give them better opportunities and give them the support they need to improve their lives and give a better future to their kids. But we also know we have to work with other countries around the world to encourage them to receive more refugees and welcome them so that they can be integrated and be successful for their families. But we also know that we need to work with origin countries to establish political stability, opportunities for people so they don't have to flee with their families. These are things that Canada is working on right around the world, and we will continue to. I wasn't able to meet any displaced persons on this trip, but you'd have to ask the different MPs if they did.
Thank you.